Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another edition of the Best Damn Golf Podcast going. And of course, that is the 19th hole podcast for golfers, coming to you live, of course, from the great Rigel Studios right in the heart of Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Glad to have you in. As always, we've got another terrific show for you today with a terrific guest, a gentleman that we've had on several times because he's just a great guest. He knows a lot about a lot of things in the world of golf, and that's why we love having him on. The weather here in Las Vegas is still hot, as you would expect. We've got some wind going, though. We've got a little pattern coming through, but I'm supposed to play golf a little bit on Sunday, and I think the predicted or the forecasted temperature is 109. So you better stay hydrated. That means an extra six-pack of beer or something like that. I don't know, but it is hot, and that's what it is here. We've got the Scottish Open happening over in Scotland, of course, and that's always a very good tournament. It's a little windy. It's a little cold over there, so it's just a prelude to the Open next week at St. Andrews, and we're going to talk about that with our guest because he's got some good insight for you on that as well. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest, Dean Reimuth. Dean's golf career in golf spans 40 plus years. Dean turned professional after playing golf in both high school and college. After years of playing on professional tours, Dean decided he wanted to both teach and also to motivate other golfers. Throughout his teaching career, Dean has instructed standout tour players from all of our major tours. In 1981, Dean established his own golf school located in beautiful San Diego in Southern California. Dean is also an author and an early television personality on the Golf Channel. He has won many, many awards and recognitions for his contributions to the game in a lot of facets. And he is, of course, known as, what else? The Dean of Golf. So without further ado, let's bring Dean up. And Dean, how are you, my friend? Always good to see you. You know that. What's going on in your life?
Hey, everything's good out here. We're in Southern California. The weather's great. We're still the state of fruit and nuts, but other than that.
Well, you're not quite as hot as we are here with 105, 106, are you?
No, we don't have that heat. We got other heat.
Yeah. Oh.
I stay out of the political arena, but it's kind of a spectator sport.
Yeah, I love that, the land of fruit and nuts. Dean, you've been touted for developing the so-called swing shaping system. Tell our viewers what that's all about and how that came to be.
Well, how it started was when I was first playing, I saw back in our day a lot of very unusual style swings.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of the golf instructional media was just barely in its infancy stages. I mean, it wasn't as big as it is now. Didn't have the internet, a lot of those things. And so I kept trying to figure out, well, why is it a guy like Miller Barber and a guy like Lee Trevino can both play and their swings are completely different than Al Geiberger?
Right.
So you take those three different contrasting swings and say, so if I want to become a player, what is it that I'm really supposed to do? Because I don't know which direction to go. That's like north, south, east, and west.
Right.
And you're saying, well, one of those has to be correct. So I started looking at it and saying, well, from a physics point of view, not kind of artistic, but from the physics point of view, what is it that you actually have to do? And that's why you saw Gary Player versus Weiskopf versus Nicklaus. And,
Mm-hmm.
I remember a quote because I met Tom when I was working at Midlothian as an assistant. And there was a great quote on him. He said, if I had Jack's mind with my swing, you might never heard of Nicklaus.
I like that. Yeah.
I thought that pretty classic.
Yeah.
And probably true because Tom's swing was probably as easy of a swing
Yeah.
and as simple as you could come up with, right?
Right.
And so that led me to say, well, if you're taking all these different people with different personalities, different physical characteristics, different flexibility, how do you get, as a coach, the best performance out of them?
Mm-hmm.
And then how could you improve that if they were serious enough to really want to improve it? Like you take a tour player, they're going to work out, they're going to stretch, you're going to,
Right.
that's it.
Right.
The average person is going to do, 25% of that maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're always dealing with the level of the intensity of the person you're working with and what they're trying to accomplish. So when I packaged all that, I said, well, if I asked one question to students, if you could hit your best shots more often, how much better would you play and would you be happy with that? That's the question. Because you, Des, you can hit good shots and you say, well, boy, if I could just do that
Yeah.
and then where does that sit? How does the
Right.
person, the individual find that within themselves without having to tear everything apart,
Right.
pull everything away, and seriously commit to it? Because most people aren't going to be that way, right?
Right. That's
A tour
exact-
player is because
right.
they're living, but the average person's not going to do that.
is not going to do that. So are you saying, though, in a roundabout way, Dean, did I understand correctly, it doesn't matter a particular swing philosophy that you learn or want to develop, you could still be a good player?
Yes, except for this. So if you were going to gamble, because you're in Vegas, so if you were going to gamble in Las Vegas,
Uh-huh.
you'd want to know what the best odds were
Sure.
in the casino so that you could apply your effort in those ways, right?
Right.
So if you took that in golf and said, okay, what's the easier way to putt? Is it to keep the face more square or to fan it open and closed? Well, percentage wise, you say, well, if you fan it open and closed, your margin of miss is going to be much bigger. So the more you can reduce that to
Right.
some level, the better your odds are going to be. So I deal with what the best odds are, and I'm not so much interested in how it looks to get there.
Right. Right. No, I agree with that. That brings to mind another question, and I'm going to deviate from this thing. Everybody knows that one of the many, many, many great tour stars that you've taught is Phil Mickelson when he was just a kid. You were with him for a long time. Is it easier? Is it harder teaching a left-handed player since you play right-handed anyway? Most of your students are right-handed. Do you just kind of reverse things, or do you have to look at them a little bit differently because they are left-handed?
No, left-handed, right-handed doesn't matter. It's really more the characteristic of their swing. I'm able to see, like in Phil's case, we started when he was almost 14, not quite 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I could always see the technique from a different direction.
Okay.
Right? You got a right-handed direction and a left-handed direction. And so all I really wanted to do was to say, what style swing does he have? What flexibility does he have? He was overly flexible.
Yeah.
More than probably any player I've ever really worked with. He's double jointed.
Wow.
To a degree. He has one characteristic, I can explain this to you, is if he holds onto the club with his right hand, which is his dominant straight arm, at the top of his backswing, when he would start forward, he could create such a severe angle in the wrist to the shaft that the shaft would actually rub across the back of his neck.
Wow. Wow.
And his left arm and his right arm, would be straight, not bent. The only way I can do that is if I bend it, right?
Right.
He could literally do it straight. But the severity of that angle created a problem down below. That's like taking a corner too sharp
Mm-hmm.
and you're going too fast and you swing out too wide because you can't make that turn and in that angle. So I'm working with something completely different. But then you look at a guy like, let's say Ricky Barnes, for example. Ricky had pretty good flexibility, but nowhere near the flexibility Phil had. And so his left arm could never get as straight as Phil's right arm did.
Yeah, yeah, that interesting. Dean, how did hosting your own Golf Channel Academy series come about?
Well, when I first signed on with the Golf Channel, I had heard about it. There was a good friend of mine, one of my students named Gary Davis. He now lives in Aspen. And I was giving him a lesson. I said, I got to find somebody connected to the Golf Channel because I can do television. And it was the only format that would give us 30 minutes or 60 minutes to do a show. Everything else was like a 2-minute, 3-minute tip.
Right.
And you really can't get into the complexity and also deliver the message in that short a period of time to help anybody. It's more of an interest, like headline. And so I was, giving him a lesson one day, and I said, I got to find somebody that's connected to the Golf Channel. And he said, why? I said, well, because I can do television and it's a great format. So I'm trying to get connected. So he says, well, look, I put a little bit of money in it. I don't know if it'll ever do anything. He said, but I can connect you to Joe Gibbs. So I called Joe. Joe said, look, call down to the Golf Channel. There's a guy named Gary Stevenson. Gary now is the head of Major League Soccer. And Gary said, look, you can come down, do 2 shows. Can't pay you, but you can do 2 shows and, we'll see what we got. So I went down there. Funny story. They said, the producer says, well, we need a script. I said, no, don't need a script. I said, we're going to do it raw. Just whatever we get, we get. I said, I can't teach a student to be an actor.
Right.
So what I want to do is react to whatever the student is and the public can watch. Right?
Right.
So I go down, do 2 shows. The first show, guess who was on my first show?
Don't know.
Scott Van Pelt.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, I just got the clip because my friend Bob Swanson, Swanee was my producer. And when I went down there, Scott was like a grip. He was running, sandbags. And doing all that stuff, right? And it's funny because, his personality now, he was young, I was young, but we didn't have time to see that coming out. But Bob
Right.
Greenway, Golf Channel, had seen some of that. And I think Bob was helped him make that move over from what he was doing with the Golf Channel to ESPN. And then it became the Scott Van Pelt Show. So it's kind of funny how the careers kind of paths change, right?
Yeah, that is.
So I did the 2 shows. We shot them. We shot the first show in about 1 hour and 30 minutes. I had the rest of the day off. Shot the next show the next day in about 1 hour and 15. And Bob Greenway, when I saw him one time, he says, he said, I was trying to find every reason in the world not to hire you, but I couldn't do it. So I got lucky.
Yeah, and the rest is history. You've taught, as I mentioned at the top, tour players, top professionals on all of our major tours, from the PGA Tour to the Canadian Tour, blah, blah, blah. I would imagine, though, Dean, perhaps that the senior tour players might be a tad more difficult because they're so set in their ways, at least swing-wise. Any truth to that?
Well, that's where the kind of swing shaping system kind of came about in my mind is if you have somebody who's swing, who is ingrained for 20 years, your neuromuscular pathway, your instincts, your internal rhythm patterns in your head, they're all really well established. So there are ways to change those things or to adjust them slightly. And that's why you look and say, well, if I'm able to hit this shot and this shot quality is acceptable to me in my game.
Yeah.
In other words, I can hit a 200-yard drive and I'm playing a golf course where that's plenty long enough. Then you should be able to find a way to reproduce that more often, right?
Right.
And not say, well, I need to have you hit the ball 300 yards. That's a different issue.
Yeah.
But if I can work with you and you're happy to hit it 200 yards and consistently hit it 200 yards, that's what I do, right?
Okay.
I can do that. Or if I'm working with a Sabatini or Hee-Won Han or a Phil, and they're playing competitively the tour,
Right.
I've got to deal with that quality of shot.
Right.
And so I just adjust that based on what the level of the skill is that you need in order for you to be happy.
Yeah, well, that's excellent. Obviously, you prove that all the time and have been proving that. One question before we take our first quick break, Dean. I was reading an article about drivers and about driver shaft length and how now most of the tour players are hitting a shaft that's 43, 43 and a half inches long, no more the 46, the 47, because that's almost getting up to the, long drive guys. What's your feeling about that? And is that true? They're able to hit it just as far. Their accuracy has improved, and I think it's a good lesson for the weekend player and for guys like myself.
Well, what you're going to find is this, that when they were talking about the driver length, the reality is if you were to equalize the arc size, you'd have to measure every tour player from the shoulder to the fingertips and then from the end of the grip to the end of the club head and say, okay, the maximum length radius you can have is X. So they're all playing with the same length radius. If you took somebody with an arm length like Tom Weiskopf, his arms were about 3 inches longer than mine, and we're using the same length club,
Yeah.
he effectively has a 3-inch larger arc size than I do. Okay. Well, that alone is going to allow him to hit the ball farther without doing anything extra,
Yeah.
unless it gets to the point where the length is so long that the speed actually is slowing down. Like if you watch, it's on the internet somewhere, the guy who hits the club with the longest club ever.
Yeah.
He's swinging so slow that at some point it becomes insignificant because the length slows the speed down, and because you're using speed times mass, that's your equation. If you start to increase the length of the arc and your speed is decreasing, then you're not getting more distance from it.
Yeah.
So, and in that, if you're trying to equalize the playing field of the sport, it's really not designed to do it that way because some guys are stronger than others, some
Sure.
guys, wider arc. And so there's a lot of variables. And fortunately, length is not the only issue in terms of playing, but it is an issue of being able to keep the golf courses, competitive. That's the problem that they have. Is that,
Correct.
all of a sudden it becomes, driver wedge. Yeah, but you've got to hit the driver on the planet.
Yeah.
Phil and I, one time, we were playing with one of the national long drive guys, and I played against Tom Winrow, who was one of the national long drives way back. I played against him in high school, and he teed a ball up and hit it off a pencil and drove a 415-yard par four.
Oh my gosh.
But he shot 86. And so it's not about just length, right?
Yeah.
So length can be a component, but if you can't find the fairway and if you can't put the ball in the right angles to the greens, that's where it really starts to come into play.
Yeah, it does.
Because you get faster, firmer greens. If you're not playing uphill and into the wind, you can't stop the ball if you miss it and put it on the wrong side of the hole.
Yeah, then you're in trouble. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. All right, Dean, stay with us. We're going to step away and we're going to take a short break here on the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers and come back with, of course, the Dean of Golf, Dean Reimuth. And right now it's tea time with Janice Thornton. Back right after this.
Want to get stronger, more flexible, fit into your clothes more easily, or even hit your drives 15 yards longer? I've created a series of fast and effective programs that combine mobility, strength, and Pilates that you can do in your home or in the gym a few times a week to achieve your goals. Hi, I'm Janice Thornton, and I'm a certified online personal trainer with JT Fitness and Golf. I can help you get motivated and feel healthier in just a few weeks. Whether it's beating your buddies at golf, getting longer off the tee, or wearing that favorite dress again, I can help you reach your goals. Imagine being able to take a break from your busy day, walk into your workout space, and have an online personal trainer waiting for you. The variety of workouts will motivate you. Your training experience should not be mundane and boring. It should be something you look forward to and results driven. See the results, be the results. Let's connect today. You can email, text, or call, or set up an appointment through my calendar. What are you waiting for? Get JT Fit today.
We all know that just about everything today is getting more expensive, and golf is no exception. Well, I'm here to tell you about one golf company that is designed to save you money. That's right, I said save money. Welcome to BreakfastBalls.golf, a company that sells the best used golf balls in like new condition at a fraction of the price you'd pay anywhere else. BreakfastBalls.golf carries all the popular brands of balls, from Pro Vs to Callaway to TaylorMade to Top Flight and many, many more. They even will ship you colored golf balls if that's your choice. They offer a great membership program as well, where members receive free shipping all of the time, plus great discounts. Save money and time. Go to breakfastballs.golf and check them out. So why not give yourself a breakfast ball on every tee, not just the first? Go to breakfastballs.golf and save money. Welcome back, everybody. We're having a great chat with the incredible Dean Reimuth, one of the all-time great golf instructor and so much more. Dean, I know you are busy all of the time, like most of the real top golf instructors are throughout the country. But do you think because of the state of economy, the inflation going on and gas where you are at $10 a gallon, this and that, golf teachers are really giving fewer lessons?
I would say so, because mostly if you look at two factors in the economy, there's a need-based economy and a want-based. And unless you're a professional, golf would fit in the want-based. So it's going to be one of those areas where people are going to cut back if they don't have the money to pay gas for their car or food at the store. That's going to be one of the places that they're going to cut. So that's kind of a natural function of an economic time.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be any different for probably boating and things like that, because if gas starts costing what it's costing over here in California, you're certainly not going to go out boat around and just burn money.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, Dean. If it was a toss-up between taking a lesson from you and being able to go out and buy food for my family, I don't know. That's going to be a toss-up, Dean.
Well, I'll tell you what, you take a lesson from me and I'll help you buy your food.
All right. I like that. I'll get it off my buddies on the weekend. That's great. Dean, how long do you think this just hit it hard and go find it mentality in golf is going to last? And is it really good for the game in the long run?
Well, it's always been there. As I said, I've played with at least 4 of the national long drive guys. But what people don't realize is that if you look at the game itself and the way it's structured, most of the game is actually short game or recovery. The average good tour player is hitting 12, 11, 13 greens around. So they still have to, in order for them to shoot low numbers, they still have to get the ball up and down X number of periods.
Yeah.
But, you just can't. And if you get to a U.S. Open, as I said, when I was coaching Phil, I said, the thing is with an Open, if you make bogey or double, it's a lot harder to make birdie to come back than like what Tiger did at Pebble, which was just go out and play and not make a bogey.
Right.
So you're not giving anything back. That's a different mentality than it is when you're playing, a 18, 22 under 72 hole event.
Right.
Because then it's like step on the gas and go make more birdies, because everybody's going to be going making more birdies.
Exactly.
But you get to an Open, it's like get it in the fairway, get it on the green, make a par, go the next hole.
Yeah.
And do that for 4 straight days without coughing up a whole bunch of shots and wasting them, because they're really hard to get back.
Yeah, they are very hard to get back again, like you said, especially in the majors. Speaking of Tiger, he played last week, as you know, in Ireland at the J.P. McManus Pro-Am. They had a hell of a field. Tiger took a golf cart, still played like crap. What do you derive from that? What do you see in that?
Well, it's so hard. What he's had to go through to come back. Um, he's just an amazing mental discipline guy. And when you're practicing but you're not competing, there is a difference when you first come back out to get competitively, get your mind and your control of your, trust factor and all that kind of stuff at that nth degree, right? It's like the Open Championship. I'm looking forward to watching and seeing him play. I'm torn, and I'll tell you why I'm torn. I'm torn because I really love to see the Open when it's weather oriented.
Me
It has
too.
the weather element to it as
Me
opposed
too.
to just part of the day, right?
Me too.
But at the same time, I'd love to see Tiger play well and not have to fight the elements too hard
Yeah.
to make it even more difficult.
Yeah.
So that's the push shove.
Yeah, no, I said that on the show the other day. I love it when there's weather there. When it's cold, they get a little bit of rain, this and that. St. Andrews not that easy to walk anyway, and I think it's going to be a problem for not only Tiger, because I don't think he plays particularly well in bad weather, but for other players as well. So again, we're just going to have to see what happens. You've been
And
around.
I would say,
Well,
I
go
would
ahead.
say over there, the old course is, you can get some very funny lies.
Yeah.
And one of the issue, obviously, with the damage that was done to his legs is being able to orchestrate the weight movement or not movement based on the lies that you get. Those kind of really funny, awkward ones.
Yeah.
Because you can get real strange ones there.
Yeah, no, you can, and no cart for him over there. Obviously, you've been
No.
around the tour and tour players most of your life. Do you think the PGA Tour, specifically Dean, needs to change somewhat? And if you do, in what area do you think?
Well, I think the game itself has always had that transitional age bracket to it. Now it's changed because when I was younger, the end of the tour life for a tour player came earlier because they didn't have the senior tour.
Yeah.
So you played a certain length and that was all there was, and then they came up with the senior tour. So, but I think what you're seeing now is the senior tour to a lot of the guys doesn't have the same interest with the live tour coming on board that it had when, say, Toski and Miller Barber and those guys were extending their careers by playing in the senior tour, and a bunch of people could go out and watch them play and see them continue their career, right? Because it's a shorter time frame.
Right.
You can establish a schedule. You come in and do this. You're here 3 days. You go home, right? So that makes your air transportation, your hotel, so much simpler because you can actually make your reservations and leave.
Correct.
But when with me going out on tour, sometimes I'm leaving on Friday night. Sometimes I'm having to extend it, and then you change your flights, and so you're always doing a lot of that stuff. But the problem with the live tour is not really a tour. What it is it's a paid exhibition.
Yeah.
Because there is no cut, there's no, you've got defined things. So what you're really doing is saying, okay, we're going to have these guys come out and play golf, and they're going to play, but it's not really it's a competition from a purse perspective, but there's no historical value to it.
Correct. Well, that's correct. Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, there's guys, I'm sure if they're still going to be around, if they don't want to cut their losses, I don't care how much money you got. After a while, you got to cut your losses. But if they don't, they decide to stick it out for a while. They change a few things. I personally think they've got a good chance to, to get a television contract, and then they're on their way. Dean, you've met so many great players. I just cannot imagine what playing a round of golf with a guy like Miller Barber a guy like Billy Casper and so many others would be. It's got to be such a phenomenal experience. I'm not saying playing with guys today isn't great, but back in the day, Dean, as you know, with people like this, it's got to be unbelievable.
And the stories are the best part. Like I said, I don't know if you and I talked about that, but when my son and I went over to Scotland, the first time I went to Scotland, it was the old Scottish caddies. They were hysterical. The stories they told, you'd laugh half the time, the whole time you're playing. You couldn't stop laughing, hit a golf shot. But the newer, younger generation of caddies over there doesn't have that historical component to it. So you miss that, right?
Yeah.
And being around guys like Miller Barber and Trevino and Casper and Gene Littler, for example, knowing them, meeting them, Tommy Jacobs, a whole bunch of those. It was, for me, it was the thrill of a lifetime. Bob Toski, who's been my friend since I was 20 years old, was my mentor. And we've just had a great relationship. I got to teach in Japan with him, and we've been friends ever since I met him, which, to me was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because golf was for whatever reason, it was the thing that drove me, and that's all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, Toski is obviously one of the greats, no doubt about it. All right, Dean, stay with us. We're going to step away, take another short break, and come back. We're going to finish up with Mr. Dean Reimuth from beautiful San Diego in Southern California. Back right after this. Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over, because I found the best ball I have ever played with, and more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at EncoreGolf.com, and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to EncoreGolf.com and see for yourself. Your scorers will love you for it. That's ONCORE golf.com. If you're an avid golfer like I am, how great would it be living on a golf course? It's fantastic, but you're probably thinking golf course property is just too expensive. Well, I'm here to tell you that the folks at RWM Home Loans here in Las Vegas can make it happen. RWM Home Loans in Las Vegas will access a wide variety of ways to customize a loan to help you get into that golf course property, or anywhere else for that matter. They offer first-time home buyer programs, jumbo loans up to $5 million, and even reverse mortgages. So do yourself a favor and call Casey Zari right here in Las Vegas at 702-888-2251. Get started on that new home or property. That's 702-888-2251, or just go to rwmhomeloans.com. All right, welcome back, everybody. Before we get back with Dean, I just want to make mention, last week on the show, I broke the news that Encore Golf, our title sponsor, has come out with a membership club where you have tremendous savings on a whole lot of stuff. So check them out at EncoreGolf.com. And also, they mentioned the Vero 1 golf ball. They're coming out with a Vero 2 golf ball pretty soon that promises to be even better. So anyway, back to our special guest, Dean Reimuth. Dean, I have people ask me this all the time. How can this guy or this woman be a good golf instructor when they aren't a very good player themselves. Any truth to that?
Yeah, I believe there's some. I think that if you can't hit the shot, it's very hard to teach it. Doesn't mean you have to be as good as a tour player. Obviously, I don't play to the level I used to play to. When Phil and I first played Pine Valley, I think he beat me by 2, which wouldn't be the case now. And certainly, as you see, people get older, the game just doesn't stay.
Yeah.
It's not the same. But you do need to know how to hit the shot and be able to hit the shot. I was doing some stuff for Golf Digest magazine one time, and the production crew said, "Wow, you can actually hit these shots." Yeah, I mean, I can hit shots, tee shots. And I mean, if I couldn't hit them, I don't know how I could get to where I could say, "Well, this is how you go about hitting."
Right.
I'm working with a lady that used to play the LPGA Tour, Leslie Spalding, and I was showing her how to hit short wedge shots and pick the ball down so the flight comes in lower and spins more, right? And she was used to kind of flipping it a little bit. And so we're texting back and forth. She says, "Wow, this is so much different." But there were some technical things we had to do to change her swing in order to make that happen. But she's willing to put the time in to make that happen, right?
Yeah,
And so
and you have to.
it's important to know that that what you're teaching will work, as opposed to just coming up with some kind of a cool creative thing that the writers will say, "Wow, I've never heard about that before."
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was doing something with a friend a long time ago. I don't know if you know the name Desmond Tolhurst.
No.
Desmond used to be with Golf Magazine. And so I was talking to one of his staff guys, and he says, "Oh, we had a guy came in last week. He was telling me how he grips the club with an upside down left hand, and then puts the right hand down. And that's
wow.
his secret to playing. I don't know how he could hit it, because I've tried it and it doesn't work, right? But you can find that on the internet anywhere about all these clickbait titles and stuff to say, "Well,
Right.
try this and try." I never really got into that.
Yeah.
By the way, that is the coolest looking mic I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love it. We have a bunch. We have a bunch of them in the studio, and they actually work, and it is cool. Thank you for that. I'm sure
Golden
everybody here
mic
will
will
will be happy to hear that. Dean, I know there's a lot of components to being a good teacher, but what would you say is the number one primary thing him or her has to have to be a good, effective instructor?
I would say there's 2 things. Okay, the first is you have to be able to see what the procedural plan is to going from where they are as a student to where they want to be.
Okay.
That you have to be able to establish a plan and say, okay, here's what their skill set is. In order to get them to where they want to be, this is going to have to occur, and this is going to have to occur next, and then this. So you
Right.
see kind of an organized mechanism. When they acquire this skill set, then we can move to this phase, and when they acquire this, you can move to here. Sometimes you can't get there just by one little thing, and it has to be in an order, right? The second thing is learning how to be aware of how that person communicates to their body. So there's always, in any lesson, there's 2 teachers and 1 student. So I'm a teacher. I'm trying to teach your teacher, the one that talks to you when you're practicing and playing, what to look for and how to communicate to your body correctly. Because if you understand the brain, there's a conscious part of the brain and a subconscious. The subconscious works off feel, sensory, smell, touch, things that are non-verbal.
Right.
The conscious part works on a verbal structure, which is why whenever you travel around the world, if you get in a country where you don't speak the language, you're going, pointing to this, I need some
Right.
water,
Right.
I need this. It's all nonverbal communication. That's how the subconscious learns. Then we attach words to that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as an example with Hee Won Han one time, I said, look, I need you to swing smooth. So what she did was slowed her swing down. And she didn't speak English when she first came here. She had a translator. And I looked at her, I said, no, no, no. I didn't say slow. I said smooth. She went, yeah. Slow, smooth. No, they're not the same. Right?
Yeah.
So I had to get to her to be aware that she can make a smooth swing and also keep it up to a certain speed until it gets jerky.
Right.
And that was but that's the communication that you're trying to establish as the teacher. You have to find their level of understanding.
Correct.
Not your level
Not
of wanting
right.
to teach.
Exactly. And she was a terrific player. All right. Last question before I let you go. Does a person have to have it in their DNA to become an elite player or tour professional?
Well, in their DNA there's a difference between those who love to play golf and those who love to compete at golf. Big difference. So there are a lot of people who love to play. There are less people who, when you come down to it, really love to compete at it in any condition, anywhere.
Yeah.
And in order to become great, you have to have this burning desire to compete at the game, to try to get that good that you're willing to put the time and effort in to acquire that skill set.
Yeah. Yeah, no shortcuts. No shortcuts in this game. All right, if somebody really wants to up their game and they want to come see you, how do they get hold of you, Dean?
You can check it out. I've got a website, deanofgolf.com, and I'm in San Diego. They can find me on the internet on my website, and I'm here.
All right, just go. Yeah, anybody, just stop at any gas station in San Diego and go, you know where I could find Dean Ryman? Everybody knows who the hell he is. So you don't have to worry about, being not being able to find him. Anyway, Dean.
If you Google me, you'll probably find me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Anyway, always great talking to you. Always great information. We appreciate your time. And I know we'll have you back sooner than later, my friend.
Same here. Take care, Dennis.
Thank you, Dean.
Great being with you.
Dean Rymuth, what a great guy and a great teacher. All right, that's going to wrap it up for another edition of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. For Dean Rymuth, I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Get out and play some golf. Keep it in the short stuff, and we'll see you back same time next week. So long, everybody.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.